The poor Wi-Fi. Yeah, it'll find it.
Well, you wrote speech.
I did, didn't I?
Oops.
I did, didn't I? I'm good at that. I am a speechwriter, in
Right here.
case nobody knew it. Is that in the way very much?
No, you're right. You just do what you need to do, we'll work around it.
Okay.
This thing off.
Oh, yeah, cell phones. Dead end cell phones. There's a judge in Wichita that if your phone goes off in the courtroom, he takes them from you.
The GoPro seems a bit excessive. I mean, I don't know how much action you're expecting at this board meeting, but.
Okay.
I've got 60 frames a second.
It's almost scary, man. It's almost scary.
Somebody might throw water at her.
Almost scary. Are we all here?
Yes.
Are we all accounted for?
Aye.
Yep. Aye.
Everybody agrees, says aye? Okay.
Just raise your hand if you're not here.
Okay, that's the way to do it. All right, then I would say let's start this nonsense. Start the madness.
You're good?
We're good?
We're good.
Good evening, everybody. We are sitting, where are we? Oh, we're at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but we're
Y'all
not.
can sit down if you like.
Not-
We got extra chairs. You don't have to stand. We got some over here, some over there.
Too close to the camera range.
We'll drag them that way.
Why is the open bar all the way over there?
Law enforcement for too long, but to learn that lesson.
I thought I was the boss.
Cup of coffee, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I would. Thank you.
But you understand that you may be the boss, but you work at our pleasure.
Oh, be.
Okay, for those who don't, out there who don't know who I am, and I think everybody in this room probably does, I'm Debs McElhenney, and I am the secretary and the vice president of the board. I'm a practicing lawyer, and I'm a free racing agent. Right, Michael?
Yes,
Right, I'm a free racing agent. I get a seat where I can. With me is the rest of the board, and starting with the newest faces and titles, we have Michael Kingsley to my right, and he's our newest director, and we're glad to have him with us. To his right is Jimmy Day. He is the co-owner of USCA,
Ultimate Streetcar Association, yep, and FM3 Performance Marketing.
and he is our CFO treasurer. On the far end is, okay.
Better
on
than the
the-
far side.
Okay, we are here for business, y'all. On the far end down here is Mr. Bill Riley. Bill Riley is the, are you full owner, co-owner?
Co-owner.
Co-owner of Riley Technologies, which is a rather well-known race car manufacturer. You don't find too many of them, and here he sits. And he's a pro race car driver. He gets paid to drive. We pay him a whole $1 to go round and round as often as he can.
I'll take it.
He
Exactly.
also gets paid to swap tires sometimes.
Yeah.
And then to my left, you may recognize the face, but this face belongs to Bob Mink, who is a calibration engineer at Edelbrock, and he is now the new CEO, chairman of the board, president, and any other titles
No, I think that covers it.
of ChumpCar. So,
Team captain.
oh, he's a team captain of the DOS Idiots.
DOS Idiots.
That's correct. And this is Roto Flickers. Jimmy, do you have a
We were Team Optima.
Team Optima? Bill?
I am not team captain. Tyler Hook is a Boom Pow Surprise.
Ooh.
There you go.
I'm just kind of the team captain of my own, whatever. Okay, those are, oh, and then we have new officers. Chiswick,
Hello.
please come.
They see my face enough.
Not everybody, I'm sure there's some who don't know. We have a COO, a Chief Operations Officer, well, there he was. Okay, Mike Chiswick, the Eastern Regional Director, and he's hanging on to that job too, by the way.
And he makes good coffee.
And he makes great coffee.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike.
We gotta get stronger cooks.
what I have to put up with, you guys. All right, I've scripted something, and I think it's kind of important that everybody out there know, we have gone through a transition. As everybody knows, John Condren decided to resign, and he left us the 1st of July. So we are now, at this point in August, almost to August, we're in the last laps of an all-consuming corporate transition that began in April when John tendered his resignation. We have changed most of the organization's administration, you know, the stuff behind the scenes, and that has meant almost full-time work for most of us. When done, we believe, and certainly hope you will agree, that you'll notice a difference, and you'll like it. I hope you will. Our goal is to respect ChumpCar's origins, you know, to provide the most seat time for the buck, safely, and at some of the best tracks in the country. And while you might not like all the decisions that we have to make, and have already made, we hope that you'll at least like our attitude and recognize our sincere efforts to do what's in ChumpCar's best interests. And as always, we're open to good suggestions. So, with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Bob and to Mr. Chiswick if he chooses to chime in.
I'll talk. I talk a lot.
If you didn't hear it, he says he talks and he talks a lot. To talk a little bit about perspective and operations.
Yeah, my name's Bob Mink. I'm the new CEO, and my thoughts here are that I want to just get back to more of the roots of what ChumpCar is and what ChumpCar was. And we want to simplify things. We want to make it easier for people to come racing with us. We don't want to make it difficult. We want to make certain rule changes to try and simplify and lower costs, but we're going to try and stop the creep of free parts and stuff that have been plaguing us recently. The other thing that we want to do is we want to get back to having the rule book pretty much frozen. So the attempt will be to make a major change to the rule books in 2018, starting with the 2018 year, but it will stay pretty much locked from that point on. We will discuss what these changes are going to be. You may not agree with them all, but I hope that you will at least hear us out and listen to what we have to say. The idea is to make ChumpCar the best racing series out there, period. So from that perspective, we have some of the best people in this group. We have the strengths of technical ability, legal ability, again, technical ability with the computers and the websites, Jimmy's marketing savvy, his organizational skills. We've got Mike Chiswick that I think everybody in ChumpCar knows. Bill Strong helping us out with the website has been a tremendous addition to the team. Talia here is our new bookkeeper. She's just all over it, getting our books in order. So let's just move ahead. It's a new era, and we'll pass it on to the next. Who's the next speaker here?
Oh, you are.
Oh.
Yeah,
But I went through
keep going.
the website. We did a lot of things to the website. I think everybody noticed that we came up with a new website. We brought it online pretty quickly, and I really want to thank Rob Verena, Bill Strong, and Michael for getting that thing done in record time over the 4th of July holiday. It's been a major change to our structure, and I hope that everybody has gone onto the website and likes it. We will be adding some new things to the website. One of the things we want to add is starting in January 2017, if you have a waiver in your logbook, those waivers will come with an expiration date. Before that expiration date, it will be voted on by the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee consists of myself, Mr. Chiswick, and the other RDs, Bill Gazinski and Jillian, and Phil for the main rules guy. So we will vote on it. If it is approved, it will be published on the website and put into the rule book. There will be no more waivers that we don't know, that people don't know about. So That is one of the things we hope to do with the website. We also want to do some more, making sure that people see our organization as far as what the events, what the results of the events are. I really want to push, and we're going to work on trying to get, if you go to the website and you post some good stuff on Facebook, or you post some good stuff on whatever social media site you're using, that we will give you $100 or a couple $100 off. So do something good for us to market us, and we'll help you out. This is just a repeat of what we did before. I can see. I got my glasses. We talked about the next major rule change. The tech waiver committee we talked about.
Okay,
Registration and payment changes. We will be making some changes to registration and payment. We really want to get away from, I hope, this is something we're proposing, is that we'll get away from charging per driver, and we'll charge per car. But that's to be worked out, so watch for that coming up in the next 6 months or so. For those of you who don't know, they don't care about these Charlene, who used to do your deliveries, is now working with Mr. Gazinski on the West Coast. She's going to help him out in the organization. But I hope everybody's tried out the new store. I mean, we've got a new store online now, and that store is, I think, a major improvement. The prices are cheaper, quicker, and for a company, we actually make a couple bucks more on it. So, and we will be trying out some new designs on the door panels where they are reflective, and hopefully that'll make it a lot easier for everybody to see at night the numbers. That's the new central supply. So from that point, we'll be covering petitions later. So we'll pass it off to Jimmy to talk a little bit about the financials.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us at the board meeting. I've just got 3 items to report on. The first item is a good news item. We had a Wisconsin tax matter that dealt with our entry fees and our sales and use tax due on our Road America event, which was very Wisconsin specific. And I'm happy to report that we were able to alleviate that concern to our benefit, and we have no taxes due in Wisconsin at this point in time, so that was a savings to us of about $30,000+ so that was a really good win for us.
yes, it was.
The second item on our corporate financial review, I want to let everybody know that we are currently performing a full review of our corporate finances. We have discovered a discrepancy in our 2014 tax reporting. Because of that, we've got to figure out that discrepancy. That will affect our 2015 tax filing. So we have filed for an extension for our 2015 taxes until we get this discrepancy discovered. And once we have that, then we will be able to file our 2015 taxes, and then we will be able to provide a full financial summary for everybody at that point in time. Lastly, as I just mentioned, the 2015 tax year, for this year we have enlisted the help of a new certified public accountant. As part of kind of our corporate restructure, we've got a new accountant in place to help us figure out what's going on here and file our taxes. She's the one that noticed that error in 2014. She's helping us take care of that. So as soon as we get that discrepancy figured out, we will file the 2015 taxes and give a full report to everybody. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions? Okay.
All right. Probably the only thing that people are really interested in all of this is the petitions. We reviewed the petitions earlier in a closed session, and we'll report on the results here. I'll probably refer sometimes to Deb's because we had some notes we took. On the first one, I can say the SFI dates on harnesses and window nets, we're going to fall back and use the SCCA standard because that's industry standard, or at least it is certainly one that we can point to in court and say, yeah, we're doing what everybody else is doing. And what they do is they say, your harness expires, if it's got an SFI tag, it expires 4 years from the date that it was manufactured, at the end of that year. So if you bought your harness in January 2015, in December of 2019, it would expire. If you have a tag from FIA, which has an expiration date on it, unfortunately, you're stuck with that expiration date. If you have both an FIA tag and an SFI tag, you can carry on with the later date, the SFI date. As far as the window nets go, we're going to say that you don't need, there's no expiration dates on window nets. Window nets, as long as they're in good condition and are mounted properly, are acceptable in ChumpCar. So that petition was denied, but we took it into advisement and we did modify our rules slightly and tried to clarify them a bit. Number 2, renaming EC to exhibition. We did deny this, but it's something that we will look at going ahead when we do the big rules restructure. We might consider changing that. We'll probably take some input from the members as to what they might want to see for that. So again, that one we denied, but we are looking at some changing it.
I think it's fair to say that just because we deny something doesn't mean we don't like the idea.
That's absolutely correct.
In fact, sometimes what we sit and agonize saying, okay, if we say we deny it, then that means we don't like what you had to say. Not really true. We want to hear what you have to say, and you give us food for thought. So at the moment, it might not be appropriate to implement something, but that doesn't mean we can't work on it, and we will.
Yeah, and you'll see we'll tie that in with one of the later petitions. The text sheets available at Race Control, that's the petition 3 and 4. Again, we denied these, but only because we need time to put together something that we like. My personal feeling is I like open logbooks. I like open text sheets. But I only have one vote here, so I'm going to push for that, and I hope that going ahead we'll have some type of openness, because I think it would eliminate a lot of questions in impound where people would say, oh, you already declared those springs. Nobody can tell what springs you got in there. You put springs in a car, so what? So I think that we should go ahead with some type of open log, but we're going to have time to consider this. So I would not expect anything to happen before 2017. And probably, it may be 2018, but we may try it on some limited extent in 2017.
Can I interject one more thing?
Absolutely.
I also think it's important that you know that sometimes we might say something and it might be open to interpretation in a dozen different ways. So we're going to try, I make a living with words. We can't always tell it sometimes, but that is my job. And we parse the words in our closed sessions, and we're going to try very carefully to make sure that what we give you in terms of the rule words will make sense. But just in case, we'll probably even make an effort to explain what we just had to say. So you might get tired of hearing from us.
Do you want me to explain what you just said?
That's a great idea.
Basically, things can be interpreted in many different ways. Interpreted in the way that means a lot to you.
Yeah.
That's a racer's rules interpretation.
Yeah. How do I get the
Yes.
most benefits at the least
Exactly,
points?
Phil.
Petition number 5, engine swaps. We're gonna deny this, but we are going to change the engine swap rule. It is coming. It is probably gonna happen in 2018. No, it will happen in 2018 when we introduce the new rule book. We will put out what that rule will be no later than this time next year, so that you have a chance to review these rules. We'd like to get it out sooner. Our chassis builder over here said, give me a year, I need a year. So we really need to look into this. I really want to put some type of horsepower increase into the formula. We had a formula that Mike Chiswick worked on that was darn close, and we got a lot of good comments on it. This formula here, where the guy wanted to do a horsepower increase, there was some horsepower and weight. these are great ideas, but we've gotta get it right, because it's a big change to the way our rule book is done, and we really want to, make sure that we get it right.
That being said, everybody should know that if they're considering a swap, it's gonna get a lot more expensive. So if I was building a car, I would hold off until those new rules are released.
Okay, in case you can't hear that, Mike did come out and say that it will probably get more expensive if you up your horsepower, you're gonna get hit. And if you're gonna consider building a swap, you might wanna hold off until the next 6 to 8 months until you see which way the wind's blowing on this. I don't think that the swap rule will hit you really hard if you're basically swapping for reliability. If you've got a Lotus Europa, which can't run 20 minutes without a carburetor tune, then yeah, you could probably swap in a Ford Fiesta motor and you wouldn't actually get hit that hard.
What about an Audi 2.0?
I think an Audi 2.0 is a rocket. Anything Volkswagen is perfect.
Really?
I was gonna say, there's some regulators that might differ.
My Volkswagen is a defeat device.
Search news for that.
How much of that 14.1 billion are you coughing up?
None. Moving on, number 6, free coil springs. Are you out of your minds?
That's harsh. What he meant to say.
How that should be interpreted is?
No, I'm kidding. We talked about this quite a bit, but again, we want to fall back on getting away from giving away more free stuff. I'm sorry, but if you've got a 1932 Packard that you want to put iBox on and they don't make springs for it, maybe you should have chosen a different car. So I don't know. Personally, I'm not a fan of coilovers in this series, but I only have one vote.
Well, I mean, we're all pretty much agree, the board pretty much agrees with all this.
Yes.
I know you're one vote, but
Yeah.
we pretty much agree on it.
That's correct.
Okay, number 7. What we've decided is we're going to accept this petition. If you have a roof net or a hard top and it is acceptable to tech, don't show up with a roof net this wide when your hands go like this. So make sure that thing is going to keep your arms in the car. We don't need your arms in between the road and the roll bar. So make sure that thing is in there, it's solid, and then I have no problem with you running without arm restraints. Does everybody agree?
We all approved it, so this was unanimous, just in case anybody wondered.
Okay, we're going to talk about 8 and 10 at the same time. Both of these.
Well, Phil has a question.
Got a
Phil,
question. Since you approved that, when is that gonna take effect?
that's a good
I
question.
have no problem with it taking effect immediately, because I don't see it as performance advantage, there's no change, nobody has to prepare for it, it's just simple, if everybody's
What I
happy
told
with that.
you, for these things, you write up a story with pictures, we're gonna post to the website, Bill will help with that.
Okay.
All these changes are gonna get walked through by the tech director and published immediately on the website. So this weekend, we'll write that up and Bill can post it over the weekend.
We're gonna make a video of you, Phil.
There you go.
Bill gets to come out from behind the camera and get in front of it.
Yeah, does everybody need to be rechecked after that
For arm restraints?
for whatever they're
Just to
doing?
verify, if you're
Sorry.
gonna run without restraints, you should probably make sure that you're acceptable. You don't wanna roll up the pit out and have them go, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah, you
something.
might just wanna get it double checked.
Good point, Bill.
Good time to do that, Bill.
Yeah,
Small tech lines.
yeah.
So say it again, so.
So
Yes.
if you are running currently with arm restraints and you have a window net, a roof net, or a hard top cover, at that point, please go back to tech and make sure that they find that acceptable so that you don't have to wear the arm restraints.
It's either arm restraints or something over your head.
Yeah, that was the petition.
That's the
It's arm
point.
restraints or a roof net.
That's right.
Roof net or hard top.
And has
Or
been
a hot
changed
top.
to or.
Yes,
Very
and
important.
has
And
been
is now
changed to or.
Yeah,
One
and
or the
don't
other.
show up with a roof net zip tied to your roll bar. Not gonna work.
That's not gonna work.
Okay, fuel cell capacity, number 8 and 10. Okay. After much consideration, we have denied both of these petitions. I personally feel that fuel capacity is the best horsepower limiting option we have. The more capacity you have, the faster you can make your car go, and we are trying to fight a little bit against speed creep right now. I like the rule we have in place. That doesn't mean that we won't review this for the major rule book change. If you have a car that has a ridiculously small fuel tank, an 8-gallon tank or a 10-gallon tank, at that point, you could just ask for a waiver that could be voted on by the Rules Committee and approved so that everybody knows that if you're running an Opel GT that came with an 8-gallon tank, you can put a 14-gallon tank in. So, what's that?
It comes with a 14.
I'm just saying.
Oh, well then it gets no more, cause our
Yeah.
Mustang only had 12, so come on.
Okay, so an Opel GT that comes with a
I'm
14-gallon
gonna file a
tank
petition.
can run an 8-gallon tank and must run an 8-gallon tank.
That's it. Opel GTs and MR2s from now on, 8 gallons.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Troy?
Oh, ouch.
8 gallons of ethanol.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, the expletives coming out now.
So, let me make sure I understand this, that this has been denied, but if you have a special case, you can petition for your individual car to the tech committee to get a waiver.
That is correct. If you have something that's ridiculously small, yeah, I would say. And you're running stock engine, I don't want you putting a 20-gallon in because you dropped a 302 Ford block into your MR2 or whatever.
But what it comes down to sometimes, what it comes down to sometimes is stock tank's 15 and I can get an 18. I'm a gallon over. What can I do?
That's
Well-
that's not the intent of what we're. Size tank. We're not asking to make it a reasonable size tank bigger. You know, we're doing the +2, which we normally do, right? This
Right.
is for ridiculously small tanks to a reasonable size.
Yeah,
To
I
allow
mean-
those cars to just be competitive with the rest of the field.
And sometimes, most of the questions I get are that I can't find an economically priced tank that fits.
Well, then you still have the volume displacement to get down to that level.
Right.
And
To get down to the 2
and
gallon
volume
plus.
displacement balls are.
I know.
They are.
I know.
They're not, but then this goes back to, we did not choose your car. There are certain things that you have to deal with on your particular vehicle that are part of the personality of that vehicle, and if that's one of them, then so be it. You must have chosen that car for some other reason.
I mean, my Jetta has a 14.7-gallon tank from the factory. I run a 16-gallon fuel cell. I can't get a 16.7, so that's just the way it is. It was my choice. I picked the car. All right.
Just a thought that would be an exception that then would be added to the rules, correct?
There will be no exceptions or waivers that are not eventually added to the rules
Exactly.
or don't expire.
So it's a level playing field.
That is correct. If you have an 8-gallon
Absolutely.
tank and we give you a waiver for a 10, everybody with that car will get that same waiver.
Right, and
Yes.
everyone will know,
Nobody-
not just.
Yes, it will be publicized.
Yeah, we definitely want to get away from this feeling that people have that there's a secret rule book or there's some rule book that people don't know about or only certain teams know. So we will definitely want to make sure that everything is published. There are no waivers that don't expire. Okay. Number 9 was the banning of wood, sheet metal, or self-tapping screws. The big thing here that hinged on the reason we denied it was because I can't count the number of self-tapping screws that came in a Jetta factory, and I'm not gonna go through and replace them all. So,
That's an
I the statement came up is that, we definitely would suggest you don't use them, particularly, wood screws, because they tend to be long and very, very sharp. But sheet metal and self-tapping screws are ubiquitous in street cars.
And how would you enforce it?
Yeah, right, there's no enforcement
And
ability.
it's not fair to punish a team that tried to remove them all and missed a couple.
Oh, yeah, right.
I get that, yeah.
We already talked about 10.
Well,
Change ChumpCar's name. This actually went on for quite a while. We talked about this for quite a while. We are going to table this. We're going to deny it for the moment. We're going to table it, and we're going to kind of monitor the forum and get some feedback from the members as to what they think. and what kind of suggestions. I understand Bill has come up with quite a few unusual suggestions.
I didn't know that got out there.
Oh,
There
yeah.
are no secrets.
So I have to, I am not opposed to this, so let's
Well,
see what
neither
you
are the
guys
rest
can
of
come
them.
up with. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
board. Oh, by the way,
Yeah, it's a
Bob
board.
keeps saying
Yeah.
I, but it is we.
I know.
Yeah,
So I'm only one vote and all that
Okay, yeah.
So
hello.
abusive.
Well, like I said, he works at our pleasure.
Bob Carr.
I quit.
No, you can't, you're not done yet. Number 12.
Number 12 was the adding a national cha- oh, what the hell happened there? Adding a national championship. We are, as a board, we find this a pretty interesting proposition, but we do have some concerns that we would put something in place and nobody would show up. It's one thing to talk about, oh yeah, it's great, let's go to this national championship. It's another thing when you gotta hook up your trailer and haul 8 hours or 20 hours or 24. I mean, Michael and I may be dumb enough to drive from LA to Miami to go racing, but I can't believe the rest of you would do it. So, we're thinking, let's talk about this one over the next year, and it would take a year to put something together.
Yes, it would.
So we're thinking that it would have to be something like one of the bucket tracks, like COTA, Road America. We're getting flashes. Indy.
Yes, we're getting
Yeah.
shouts from the
But we don't
sideline.
want to put it at a track and then push everybody else out, and only the national championship people can run, and none of the other chumps can get to go to that track. I don't know. Well, we'll have to,
Like every good rodeo, you
So-
got the stars, you got the slack.
we denied it, but it is definitely going to be on the list of things to do.
We're thinking about it.
Okay, the next two, the free AccuSump oil accumulate aluminum, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what my thoughts are. My thoughts are, these are my thoughts, just so you know where I'm coming from. My thoughts are that we sell a service, and we sell a service that you buy because your car is running and you can come out and race with us. On the other hand, when you choose not to put an AccuSump in, but you decide to put a rear sway bar in your car, don't come bitching to me because your car blew up. So, the AccuSump is 10 points. 10 points.
Well, I should say, we reduced those points.
The
We
last
did it
board
last-
meeting.
at our last
Last
board meeting.
board meeting we
The
reduced.
aluminum
reduced them
radiator is
substantially.
20 points. I think we're gonna stick with that for now. Because 10 points is something you probably put on your car that maybe you don't really need. But even if it's so, if you're gonna tell me that your car will survive a 12-hour race or 16-hour race because you have an AccuSump on it and it won't survive if you don't, then take the 1 lap penalty and go race. So.
And outrun somebody.
One
because-
must first finish.
That is
Finish
correct,
first.
yes. Which gives you some indication of how this board split on this issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're split, but we're sort of unified. We
We're sort
understand.
of, yes, we do.
We want to play that game of balance between giving you guys free stuff that allows you to go faster and also allowing you to have stuff that makes your car reliable so you can come out and spend money with us again.
Or race more often,
And race more often.
which of course we're heading slates to
Yeah.
spending money.
Right. And the more often you race, the more people see the series and the more people are exposed to it, so yes.
And the better your competition becomes because you draw better people who come out and race too.
It's more fun to race against 40 cars than 4, that's for sure.
Does it save ChumpCar money by not having engines dump their oil on the racetrack?
Good question, Bill. It saves us a lot of money
Yes,
because
it
we
does.
get nailed for that. But that doesn't happen very often.
$10
10
or 10 points?
10 points.
points.
Yeah, I mean,
Come
think
on.
about it. You can make an AccuSump a go fast part. You finish the race and win, rather than, blowing up with 20 laps to go, right? It's 10 points.
You may
Seems
disagree with
reasonable.
us, but you can see where we're coming from.
I know that. I have to fight for my
Of course.
brothers.
Yeah.
You have sisters. Hey, Bill, you got sisters out there too.
Yes, and sister. So
Okay.
it's Troy.
And we like Troy, by the way, he writes a very good
Yeah,
proposal.
that's his,
It
I
really
think that
does.
was his proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was, we debated it quite heartily, but
yes, we did. And the minutes will reflect that.
yeah.
Mhm.
Michael brought up a good point, and I think that I'm gonna let him say it. The way you did your point about say the oil cooler.
If you have a car that came stock with an oil cooler, and we now make oil coolers open, and anybody can put an oil cooler in, the advantage that you had by choosing the car that had the oil cooler in it to begin with is now gone. Everybody gets something free, except for the
You.
guys who already chose that car. Now the guys that get it free are able to take the 10 or 15 points or whatever it was that they spent on putting that part in the car and use that on Go Fast parts instead, because now they get this bit for free. Meanwhile, the guy that had the thing in the car all along gets nothing. And it's the only fair way to do this is to go through the table and reduce the value of every car that comes with that part stock, if we are to give that free to all the other cars. And
It may be something we could consider in the 2018 rules.
yeah, it's something we can consider, but then what we came up with was 10 points didn't seem like a
Yeah.
draconian
It
thing
just
to
doesn't.
ask.
We reduced it substantially at our last board meeting.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
we did.
Right, because
did.
it used to be
And-
50 points or
and
something.
this is-
horrible
this is
like
way
that.
up there.
This is endurance racing. It's in the term of what we do. It's endurance racing. So
Right.
you need to think of that. When you build your car, it not only has to go fast, but it has to endure as well. So you have to choose how you use what is available to you.
Right.
And if you decide that you want an AccuSump instead of a rear sway bar, then you may make it to the end of the race.
Right.
They're not
There's a
all-
board member who had this issue.
They're not all looking at Bill right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are.
Oh, yeah, they are.
We are.
Okay, on the last two petitions on the MPV values, we're gonna deny those, but,
No,
After-
no,
well, yeah, I guess the one where they wanted to add newer cars. We're going to add newer cars.
so technically, we're approving that
Technically, we're approving.
because we're already doing that.
Apparently, there were quite a few point value changes made but never published. That is gonna be corrected. Now, that's, what we're gonna do basically is, any cars that go down in points will go down in points immediately. Any cars that go up in points will be delayed until 2017. Before that's totally posted, we will go through it and have a look, and everybody will help make sure that nothing drastic. I don't wanna see a 200-point increase on some stuff.
Why? They deserve it.
There are those who might
Chiswick
agree.
has an axe to grind.
I raised the values of MR2s.
Well, that's
Rotten tomatoes at Mike.
I'm not gonna say a word.
It's not taking the bait.
He's figured
Where'd
this
you go?
out.
Yeah, he will, give him time.
We're trying to figure out how to make an Opel GT go fast.
With an 8-gallon tank full of ethanol?
Just don't put nitro in there.
No.
So, that's the end of the petitions.
Well, can I say something real quick?
No.
Part of the reason that a lot of these, thanks, Deb.
You're
Part of the reason we refused a bunch of these is we have this plan that there are a couple of things we are gonna, some minor things we wanna change for next year. And there are gonna be some bigger changes for 2018 that we have not ironed out and figured out how they're gonna work yet. And along those lines, some of these things that are denied are actually gonna become part of that at a future time. So they're denied for today, but they're gonna come in later on because there's a long-term plan that we need some time to put in place. And we need you guys to have time to see what's coming and not get sprung with, hey, here's a brand new rulebook, first race is next week, what are you gonna do?
No, that's
Yeah.
not fair.
Yeah, because that's
Not fair at all.
totally not good for anybody. We
And
wanna-
Phil's gotta be up on it all too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
he's
so
got
we
to
wanna
know.
make sure everybody has plenty of time to be ready for what's gonna change.
I should say though, that we're not necessarily making a 2018 complete new rule book.
No.
Or out-
No,
or-
no.
Or getting cars, or making cars illegal. We are just updating, making a major update to the rules in 18 for better racing and better moving forward. We're
It's
not
evolution.
trying to, it's an evolution, we're not trying, there's not gonna be anything there that's gonna, make any cars obsolete, or,
No.
have to cut off your roll cage or anything crazy like that.
Yeah, and a third row hoop.
Yeah, third roll.
I have members asking questions. When do you,
Okay.
rules pertain to rules? Go ahead or just wait?
Go for it. That was the next item.
That's up next.
I want to tail into what Bill said.
All right.
That part of the rules change too is simplification, because we hear all the time how complicated they are and how hard they are to read and interpret. And it's taken me several years to get to where I am with them, and I understand new racers picking up a book and looking at it and see how complicated it is. But the other thing I want to say before we get off of the petitions is that I hope the racers understand that we are taking serious looks at these. It's not just something that somebody looks at and says, no, we're denying that. There was a lot of discussion that went on with all these, and a lot of good ideas and suggestions. And sometimes the racers may not feel like we appreciate them, but we do. This is your organization, and it's up to us to try to help you make it what you want it to be. So please don't hesitate to send petitions in. We appreciate the input.
Yeah,
Yep, agree with that 100%.
yeah.
We all do.
And to that end, I answered every petition statement that I received. Gave a brief answer to
That's your
hopefully try to
job.
clarify.
So you did your job. That's great.
Congratulations for doing your job.
You want a raise?
Pat him on the back.
He wants
Yeah.
a 50% raise on nothing.
Nothing plus 50%.
I can afford to breathe now. Okay, so you have questions?
Yeah, we have one question. John Schrage, I probably pronounced that wrong. He asked, why are suspension bushings arguably a performance part, free while solid engine mounts with identical design and dimensions as OEM, also known as not to facilitate an engine swap, cost points? Did that make sense?
Yeah, the big reason is because you bought your 1970 Opel GT. I'm not picking on Opel GTs. You bought your 1970 Volkswagen Rabbit, and you went out to get it ready for racing. You realize your shocks are done, your springs are done, your bushings are done. You go to replace them, and you find out that stock pieces are ridiculously expensive. Urethane is pretty much available for every single vehicle that we could find out there, and it's a lot cheaper. So we went with that being cheaper. An aftermarket spring that you can get is cheaper. A non-adjustable shock, that is the key to that rule, is it's non-adjustable. Any non-adjustable shock is okay. Those are cheaper and better than what you could probably buy.
I think what they're asking though is why don't we go ahead and roll an engine mounts into the bushing?
Because the engine mounts, for the most part, are not a safety-related item. That was the whole point. It was safe. It was much safer to have a car with good suspension and good springs and good shocks and good bushings than it was. I mean, a motor mount. If I remember right, though, the rule states that that urethane is free.
Not on the engine mounts.
Just on suspension.
Well, how much is it?
I thought it was free on that.
I thought it was free. I thought urethane
just-
in any
we
capacity
just-
throughout the motor was fine, throughout the car was fine.
With us,
But not solid.
don't listen
Solid's a different
anybody.
story.
We just welded steel onto our motor mounts and put that into the cost of the swap.
That's fine.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I drilled through and put a bolt through my motor mount,
yeah.
and it doesn't move.
I think that's kind of what they're asking. I got a couple
It's,
more
uh,
questions.
The question I had for you though, Bobby.
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Why did we do what? Why did I put a bolt
Why
through
did you
it?
make the motor mount solid? To enhance performance?
No, because the damn things would come apart.
I was break,
And that's where I lost one, I decided
It's a
I.
reliability issue.
we broke axles at Sebring, and we were all breaking axles because the engine was moving too much.
So right now, Bob,
Yeah,
the
And
engine-
stock springs.
An engine mount is 10 points per engine, 10 points for transmission,
Yeah.
for a non-OE mount.
And it's for performance and reliability. And that's primarily the reason the 10 points.
How about if I put that down here and we will
Indeed.
talk about this?
And
Okay.
the bushings, primarily the reason we said you could change those to urethane was for safety.
yeah.
All right, so the next question, oh,
And the decreased cost.
Well, I can't change it now, first of all, I don't have a petition
Right,
that
right.
asks that.
so if you guys wanna change that, you would have to put in a petition.
Yes, please,
Yep.
Okay,
as
Yeah.
always.
I am sympathetic to that, it'd be well reviewed, yes.
all right, so the next question is from Team Rec Miata. Question for the board. General thoughts on Miata convertible hardtops being 0 points, as this rule impacts primarily one make of car only, but that may not be true.
Okay, let me state this. I have no idea what John's hard-on was for the frickin' Miata hardtop. It's a factory option. We don't penalize a 1973 Camaro that came with power brakes as a factory option. So we are definitely going to review this and put something out, and that will be changed. We're gonna talk to Phil, we're gonna come up with a decent rule. Mike is all for making it 0 points.
Free the hardtops!
And our standard equipment.
I lean that way. I know, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about Mike, I'm talking about me. I don't know about the rest of the board, but I think pretty much the board is leaning towards.
Well, you and I lean that way.
Okay. And I personally think it's it's definitely much safer to run the car with a hardtop. So I think
Yeah.
a factory
I agree with
hardtop will get reviewed and will get changed in the next couple of months.
There are cars that the hardtop was not offered in the USA, but it was offered in the UK and Japan. Will those be put into that as well?
It depends upon the type of top. If it's not
The
available
Toyota
here,
MR2 Spider.
here we go. It becomes tough if it wasn't offered here,
Right.
because we don't allow foreign engines, we don't allow foreign other stuff. So I would like to see those more valued as maybe materials.
Yeah.
Let us talk about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let
Yeah,
us talk-
because
There's
and-
not that many cars out there.
And quite frankly, that person, please send us a petition,
Petition
send a
or apply for a
petition.
waiver.
or apply for the waiver.
Apply for the
Right.
Yeah, apply for the.
The Miata we're gonna take care of, because that was, I don't know why that particular top was called out in the rules and hit for 25 laps.
Yeah, the statement now is free the poor Miatas.
Say thank you, Jason.
You know, Miata's a great car. You don't have to act like it's poor pitiful Miatas are dying out there.
I think that was
I mean-
sarcasm. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, think?
Yeah.
But I agree with the statement, and why is that the only car we penalize for running something that comes from the factory?
I have no idea.
See, that's why.
Frankly, I have no idea.
Well, I mean,
safer.
it was
It
an
wasn't safer.
option. It's not like they just came with
Nobody in
that.
this
How many-
room
how
had
many
anything
cars-
to do with
Wait,
the
wait.
original rules.
Everybody,
that?
nobody can hear us. if
Nobody
we're
in this
all
room had anything to do with the original rules, so when someone asks why was it part of it?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody here knows the answer.
We don't
No.
necessarily
That is
know.
actually
But
true.
how many cars does that affect right now, do we think?
Well, it's a Miata, and if you do bring in the Spider, the MR2 Spider, it would concern the
Okay.
Spider as well. And if you bring in the GM convertibles,
Spider's part of the new rules.
how about the GM convertible?
G and one.
The, what do you call it?
Solstice?
Saturn,
Like the Solstice and stuff, yeah.
We didn't review those.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, I mean, as far as a foreign-only hardtop, I'm a little against that, just because it's probably hard to get. I don't know how hard it is.
Well, there,
Let's not address that as a
Yeah.
petition, let's address that as a waiver.
and there wouldn't be that many Spiders anyway, because there wasn't that many brought into the States anyway.
Yeah.
But it was not singled out, whether it had a hardtop or not, but if we establish a market performance value for it. The
Right,
Miata was, and that's why it needs to be fixed.
right.
Yeah.
But the other ones,
Yeah.
they're not
Oh,
affected.
Z3, somebody said the Z3 as well. You doing the Z3?
Yes, it is.
I have one of those.
Okay.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't have the hard top.
You
It
gonna
came with it.
The hardtops were rare from my research. Most
She
of
has
them
one.
were soft tops.
I have one.
One of the
Got a
problems.
rear one.
One of the problems I have right now is if we change the Miata rule, there's a lot of cars that the guys who built their car knowing they couldn't run a hardtop, so they built their cage not
Right.
with the hardtop in mind. And I'm reluctant just to say, you're screwed, dude. Maybe we come up with some way that they can run some type of top that fits their roll cage, but they don't get penalized because they had it already. I don't know, we'll come up with something, but it's definitely gonna be addressed, cause it's not fair.
The Z3 with the hardtop's not very pretty anyway.
And that's a BMW Z3? That's a BMW Z3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with this?
Nobody, because it wasn't part of the rule book, but it is going to be
Yeah, it's gonna be.
96 through 98 only.
So see, now you have something to do with your
Oh,
car.
no, I can't.
2.3.
I know, that's.
You're back to all the street car.
I got the M.
1.9.
I'll move to.
Can I get a waiver for my M?
No,
No.
denied.
EC.
So there is a question.
EC.
There you go.
All right, there is a question. I don't know if this pertains to this.
Does this mean there's actually this many people watching this?
We
crap?
have 70 watching now
Okay, great.
Hey, guys, thank you.
across Facebook and the Ustream.
You
One-
people need to get a life.
I'm answering questions on Facebook because that's all I can pull up right now without hurting the
Right.
bandwidth on that, which is I hear it's not too good on Ustream right now.
Oh, we're not.
What's the short? So the question is, what is the short-term plan to bring people out into the West region? I don't know if that's a question that should be asked
That is
now.
something
I
that
think
we
we're
have
going-
talked about, and
yeah.
we're working on that. Let's just
Okay.
leave it at that, because there's so much involved in that we can't give you a short.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to elaborate just slightly. I'm a West Coast racer. Michael's a West Coast racer. This directly involves us. We're gonna focus on schedule, we're gonna focus on the tracks we go to, and we're gonna focus on making sure that we have the events that people wanna be at. So, that's what we're gonna
And
do.
these rules they help too.
The rules definitely.
For clarification on urethane and Delrin. Delrin is a form of urethane, right? Just a higher
I don't really
durometer?
hold,
Sure D.
Delrin.
That's an unenforceable rule. You would have to allow urethane and Delrin. How are you gonna
Yes.
tell the difference?
They are different. Delrin definitely
They are
is,
different.
is much harder. It's harder to maintain. I don't personally see a difference.
As long
That
as
just
it's,
becomes OEM or non-OEM.
Yeah.
as long as it's stock appearing and it's not offset, I'm okay with no bag.
Yeah, as long as it's not, doesn't have a spherical inside,
Right.
then it's.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Okay, so Delrin.
Delrin
we
should be
got-
okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me, Delrin is okay.
And no Z3s with LS swaps.
No.
No, that was a trick question,
Yes.
right?
That didn't take long.
And somebody says no, Delrin is different.
It
I
is.
just
We-
said
we-
that.
We realize it's different, but it's kind of an unenforceable rule. If we say yes urethane but no Delrin, then you really
You
gotta
have to have a
almost
short
take the
test.
car apart, yeah, to check that. So that's why we're gonna say yes, it's okay, as long
If
as
you
there's
wanna
no
run it,
offset. And
the
doesn't change
advantage
the-
is minimal and you have to
doesn't change the
replace it a
mounting
lot more
points.
often, so knock yourself out.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have right now.
Give it a minute.
No, we'd rather not. It's-
While we're waiting, Mike will dance.
Mike
I have a great question,
Mike has a
and
question.
really, Michael can answer this with me, is our new registration system.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
What's your question?
Yeah, what is your question?
When will we see it?
Uh,
And actually, Bill.
Well-
Yeah, you guys
Well-
got
Bill, it's your turn to be funny.
Yeah, turn that camera around.
I can't. It's pointed wrong. Nobody wants to look at my. Yeah.
Good thing you don't have the face for radio.
Take that spot.
I'm gonna sit right here. All right, so.
You gonna run the camera?
Yeah, I'll run.
Rob and I have been working on the websites. We thought we had everything sorted out and fixed when we went live with it. We had some issues with the way things displayed on mobile with the current registration system. It just didn't work. You basically couldn't do anything on a phone. You could do it on a desktop, but you couldn't do it on a phone. So we didn't want to tease you. So we put it back to the way it was. That took a few days. Once we got everything fixed and back up live, we're going to start actually working on making that completely work on mobile. Rob has some new registration parts that he's going to fix. I have to do basically the top part of the web page and the lower part of the web page, and Rob will do the middle. So once we've got everything sorted out on this web page, which we're pretty much up to date right now, we start probably next week. I'll start doing the upper and lower parts of the site. We'll get that done. Rob will then take over from there doing his testing. We have to talk to Rob about a date, so.
Okay.
But it should be pretty quick, hopefully. And I think Mike had a bunch of changes for registration.
Yeah, well, most of those are actually on the RD end, the backside. The front side won't look a whole lot different, although the things that Robert mentioned as far as going to a car registration only versus per driver, and see, people know we've removed late fee, that's gone as well.
Right.
For 2017, we're gonna change some of that payment structure where we're not gonna penalize people anymore. In fact, we're going to incentivize the registration process, so if you're early, you will get a discount on your racing. If you are last minute person, there's nothing wrong with that, you're just gonna pay the advertised price. No more, no less. But Rob's working on all those things, and we'll have those rolling out in stages throughout the rest of the year.
Yep. I think that's it. We've added some pages to the website, the news page, a video page for videographers that are shooting at the tracks. We want you guys to be able to find those pictures of your cars, help support these photographers. We're gonna do the same with video. What else? Race Capture. They're one of our sponsors.
Yes.
I'm working with Brent. We're gonna try and put some live feeds on the current ChumpCar website, or at least links to the Race Capture feed, so you guys can, not only can you watch the race live via, our normal channels from the timing and scoring, but you can watch it through the guy's car. And,
Oh, cool.
watch, through Race Capture. It is Race Capture, right?
So you can see when he runs into the guy in front of him because he thought it was his corner.
Yeah.
It was his corner.
It was.
Never done that.
And, then we can have the public, they can discuss that on the website, which will bring more traffic to the forum.
Cool. Cool.
So-
Great.
That's what we need.
But yeah, so what we want to do, folks, is any and all news, please go to the website, visit the website. Please use that. Mike and I and Rob, we are going to try and keep that up to date weekly, if not more than that. Use that, and then we'll use that as a distribution point off to the other things that, to the news we need.
Yeah,
to
you
have
can hear
to
more
look
of
at.
my babbling.
Yeah,
That's
the
true.
babbling's good. Send us feedback. If you guys think we need to add stuff or take stuff away or it's not used, let us know. It's your website too. We just make it work,
That's
or
exactly
try
right.
to.
That's
So-
right.
Okay, I think I'm done here. Finished.
Yeah, check to see how many more questions.
Yeah. Now, how many more questions?
So we have about 70 people on the site now.
That's exciting. That's way cool.
It's like the form right there. That's the form.
That's the
Yeah.
form.
Basically, people are saying these questions, you need a petition if the membership wants any changes. When do we get to see Mike's MPV list? How will the statistics from the last
Bill,
72
hold up
hours?
over there. There it is.
Here it is.
Everybody.
Here it is.
That it is. It's not a lie. It exists.
We're getting there.
We're-
We're getting there.
We're gonna have some more discussions about those values over drinks.
There might be
Hopefully.
drinks
Hey, there's
involved.
only half a bottle left.
And then,
Coffee
and
time.
then after we've sobered up at a later time, we'll reconsider the opinions we came to decide if they were worthwhile. And then like Bob said earlier, the values that are gonna go down, that will happen quite quickly. The values that are gonna go up will happen at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I have to take notes on all of this.
Okay, Barry Lau asks, on the topic of video feeds, what's the board's opinion on drone video captures at events? Obviously, each track will have its own rulings, but what is ChumpCar's official stance?
We don't have one at this point. We have already discussed that today. And we have to look at the combination of the legal aspects with each track. We have to talk about the insurance considerations involved. And there's a couple of variety of other things, because there are some people who don't want anything to do with drones.
All tracks say no.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Jimmy
about-
just
that
said
is
all
a-
tracks say
yeah,
no.
That is an
Yeah.
across the
So-
board, in every contract, no drones allowed.
Okay, well, there you have that part, so.
Okay, so no drones allowed per,
For the track
For the track
contract.
contract.
Track rules for insurance.
all right, another, David Castillo asked, from another racer, he says that doesn't have access to Facebook. For the board to address unfair chip issue, OBD 0 is free, OBD 1, 75 points, OBD 2 free.
I know what he's talking about.
I know what he's talking about.
75 points on chips and OBD ones, but we're going to introduce newer cars that run on OBD 2. We can't check for flashes. We don't have the OEM factory, computers to check with. So how do we want to address that? And
Yeah, because at that
Bob's going to
point,
answer that.
My personal feeling is that it's a stupid 75 points, 7.5 laps for maybe 5 horsepower is kind of ridiculous. Most of the times people tune their cars, they get it wrong anyway. So they had 10% fuel across the board.
former VW engineer.
tuning,
Right.
I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
I said
Okay, Bob, that's
most of the
enough.
time.
That's enough, Bob.
So, I think
It's a
what,
standard
we're
line.
gonna
We
have
got
to
it
come
wrong.
up, we're gonna have to look at this, but my guess is, because you can go into your carbureted, 75 Chevrolet, you can change the timing curves with weights, and you can change the carburetor with jets, and nobody's checking that. It seems silly to charge 75 points for a stupid tune that gets you basically nothing or very little in any car that's out there. So, yeah, I think that what's gonna happen is we're just gonna end up making that go away.
Okay, but this will be a future, not necessarily now.
Yeah,
It's
we're
not
gonna have to set it up and get ready for it and then announce it. I don't wanna just drop it and have everybody go,
Okay.
ah,
So remember, it's not in effect now.
yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait.
And since you said that, Bob, what's your opinion about injectors? Changing the size of injectors? compared
Again,
to-
I have no issue with it.
And it's, in my opinion, it's the same as changing a jet carburetor.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly
is.
the same as changing a jet carburetor.
And so
We don't penalize you for cranking the fuel pressure up if we can't measure the fuel pressure, and that's the same as changing the injector size.
So if I change injectors right now, it's considered an induction change, it should be claimed.
Yeah, and that, we're gonna get.
We need
rid
to
of
fix that.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that.
However, it should be noted, if you change your injectors to make them bigger, it's suspicious because you did it for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, generally, yeah.
Or smaller?
It's always that
Oh, you're an idiot.
Or you're trying to keep your cats cool.
Yeah.
Well, but I can run a
It's
brand
the same
X
thing with running race
that's
cars.
cheaper, that's an exact fit that works, and that's the
Right.
only reason I changed them, because they're cheaper and yada yada.
Yeah,
And-
no, that's ridiculous as
It
far
is.
as I'm concerned. Yeah.
It is, needs to be fixed.
There's a lot we have to fix.
There is.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't write the rule book, but we're gonna try and straighten it out.
And we all have
Despite
full-time
that,
workers.
though, it's to be noted that we still have cars finishing a tenth of a second off of the winner.
Yeah.
We have close finishes.
Michael lost the race by, what was it?
0.43 of a second.
And you apexed too late.
I
You
apexed
apexed
all
too late.
over the back end of the track coming out of that last turn. I apexed
There was an
everywhere.
apex he didn't get.
This will probably upset somebody. Somebody here is asking about minimum weights. Is there any minimum weights for cars?
No.
Okay.
Currently, we can't do that because there's no scales.
Right. But we also, I mean, I don't wanna say that if we don't enforce a rule or can't enforce a rule, that it's not a rule. Phil can look at a car and go, okay, that you drilled holes in every panel in this car.
There's not 60.
I can touch it, it will bend. So, that's too light. I don't need scales to say that's too light. So I think that it's up to the tech director's discretion if your car's light too much. That being said, don't forget that as a competitor, you can always appeal the tech director's decision at the track to the regional director. They have the right to overrule at that point, and then it will go to a vote. So, but you always have that option to.
But right now, I mean, if people start pulling away weight out of the car, it's gonna affect the structure, which is gonna affect the safety. That's obviously pushing it too far.
Absolutely.
And the car's not gonna finish, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, some of them hit
Hopefully
it.
no-
We already have a rule that says excessive lightning is not allowed. And it's like obscenity. I can't describe it, but I know it when I see it.
That's not obscenity, that's pornography.
Yeah. Whatever.
You notice I
He's
didn't
never
correct
seen
him
any
this
of that
time?
I've used that a lot.
Okay.
No, the phrase, not
Yeah,
pornography.
yeah.
Use the phrase.
Like I said, you see what I have with?
That was a crazy board meeting we had earlier.
Just remember, Jimmy, you're speaking in front of someone who makes their living with words.
That's,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Okay, that's it for the questions. I don't have any more here.
Well, thank everybody for coming and joining us. We appreciate
Does
that.
anybody in the room have any questions? Well, we didn't really ask that.
Yeah, what am I doing here?
I move that we.
Can I get a raise?
We've already raised you 50%.
Oh, that's right, I got a 50% raise, oh, good.
If we have nothing further from anybody,
You're gonna announce when, at some point, that's night, at some point in the future, when the next meeting will be?
yeah, we have to talk about that now
Put a date together.
together. We didn't have time.
I need more coffee.
To get to
thing.
every-
We were
Everything.
rushed out because of traffic.
Well, we were rushed out because of traffic, and then,
Yeah.
yes, so, yes, we will, and we'll post it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we haven't decided it, that was an issue we couldn't reach today.
I'm glad to see there's interest in the board meetings, actually.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I am,
We're
too,
here.
'cause this is the dry, boring part of it. Nobody wants to do this. They wanna get in their car and go run around the track. So I'm really glad to see that
Yes.
the racers out there actually care about the minutia of this enough, even if part of it is just to glean the teeniest tiny little advantage over the next guy.
You bunch
no,
of-
I'm glad to see this.
Easy, Michael, easy, it's okay. It's okay.
I personally like being on the board because it gives me a false reason to think about ChumpCar a lot more often.
True.
So, but thank you for joining us, and I guess at that point,
Jimmy moved to
Motion.
adjourn, and I second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Opposed? Don't speak.
good.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.